Double check some things here. Great, and just take a few moments settling in, slowing things down, or allowing yourself to make that mental transition onto the mat. Giving yourself permission to take these next 45 minutes all for yourself. It's all about you, taking care of you, honoring what your body needs right now. Notice how your breath is feeling this morning. Sometimes it flows easy, sometimes it feels like it's a little bit stuck. See if you can let that breath drop in a little bit deeper so it really feels like it's coming down to the bottom of the lungs. And then the exhale really empties you out. Good, we'll take a few more breaths. Oh, we've got lots of dog friends joining us today. Good. And you know, this, just being still, just breathing and being on your mat, is just as important as all of the physical movement in yoga traditions. This sitting still and breathing and practicing breath control is called pranayama, and it's one of the 8 limbs. The poses are called asana, and that's one of the other 8 limbs. So although in sort of modern practice, we tend to really focus on the physical and the poses, know that if you just carve out some time to be still and pay attention to breath, that too is practicing yoga in just as much of an authentic and honorable way. Maybe some days are just not physical movement kind of days for you. There's still plenty of ways to practice yoga, even in those days. But that being said, we're going to dive into 45 minutes or so of movement and asana. So allow your eyes to blink open if they were closed. Take your arms up to the sky, a nice big stretch. And then shrug your shoulders up to your ears and drop them back down. We want to keep the shoulders down there kind of relaxed and soft, but the arms are wide awake and strong. Spark your fingers, shoot energy out through each fingertip. Sit up even taller, feel how your abs support the spine. And then take right hand to the ground, left hand reaches up and over. Give that a nice big breath, stretch open the side of your body. And then rise up on another inhale. Exhale, other side. Big breath in. Big breath out. Rise up tall, inhale. And then twist. One hand behind you, one across the front. Look back behind you if you can. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale to center, reach up. Exhale, twist the other way, looking behind you. Inhale. Exhale. Come back through center, reach up tall. And then if you can, keep your arms as straight as possible as you rotate them back behind you. So you're really forcing that movement out of the shoulder joints. Yeah, and then lean back, fingertips to the ground. Maybe even let your head drop back if that feels okay. On the inhale, rise up. Again, arms can stay as straight as possible so your shoulders are moving. Yeah, and then forward fold. Big breath here. Bring yourself all the way back up. And then let's come over to all fours, hands and knees. And we'll just keep warming up your spine. Take your cat-cows. Inhale to look up, belly drops. Exhale, round in the other direction. Inhale, belly drops, look up. Exhale, dome up the shoulders. One more time, inhale. And exhale. Come back to your neutral. Tuck your toes under and hover your knees just an inch or so above the ground. Fire up a little bit of core strength here, shoulder strength as you push the hands down into the ground. And now stay this low to the mat, but send your hips back toward your heels. I love this because it's like you're about to pounce on something, right? Hands are pushing forward and down. You're stretching into the calves and the ankles. Keep your chest as close to your thighs as you can, and then straighten your legs, finding down dog. Take a moment there, pedal it out a little bit. And what that does is you rise into down dog that way is keep your chest really far back. So we're putting a lot of stretch into the upper body and shoulders. Let's try it one more time. Come down to all fours. Tuck those toes under, hover the knees an inch or so off of the ground. Push the ground away, send your hips back to your heels. Looking forward out past your hands. Keep your chest touching your thighs or as close as possible. And then work to straighten the legs. And of course, your chest is going to leave those thighs eventually. But the gist of this is to keep opening up the upper body. Take a big breath here in down dog. Exhale it out. Walk your feet up to your hands. Take your time with it. Forward folding as you go. Let the feet end up hips width apart, about 2 fists between them. And then just hang loose. Sway side to side a little bit. Allow the knees to bend naturally. Let your head drop heavy. Find stillness at the center. Tuck your chin to chest and round all the way up to standing. At the top, reach out and up. Look up to your hands. And exhale, hands to heart. Give it a nice big breath in. Big breath out. On an inhale, sweep the arms up, look up to your hands. Exhale, dive forward all the way down. Inhale, lift halfway up, hold here, flattening off the back, reaching the chest forward. And it's almost like you're doing cow pose here. Remember those cat cows we did just moments ago? Really, you're dropping the belly, you're arching the back almost so that you can flatten it out. And that should be giving you lots and lots and lots of stretch into the hips and hamstrings. If not, you could lower your hands, keeping the back flat. If it's too much, raise the hands up. One more breath here. And then exhale, relax everything. Hands pressed down to the mat and the right foot steps back. Lower the right knee and come up so you're kneeling upright. Reach for the sky. Draw the belly button to the spine. Keep shoulders over ribs over hips. And then start to sink forward. With this, we're targeting a lot of stretch into the front of your right hip flexor. And you can keep encouraging that stretch by keeping the rib cage pulling back, stacked over the hips. Really strong through these lowest abs. Give it one more big breath. And then exhale, bring your hands down, tent your fingers so you've got a little height. And then draw the hips back, straightening the left leg. Half splits. And it's early on in the practice, early in the morning for some of you. Give this a little wiggle. Be gentle with it. Let those hamstrings wake up. I'm waving my foot back and forth, internally rotating so the big toe is coming towards the mat. And then externally rotating so the pinky toe goes towards the mat. And what that does is stretches all the different muscles that make up the group at the back of the leg that we usually just call the hamstrings. All right, let's bring the left foot to point straight up at the sky again. Rebend the left knee, drop the hips forward. Tuck the right toes, lift up that knee, and step back to a high plank. Take a great big breath here. As you exhale, lower in chaturanga, and let's hold chaturanga as a pose, which is really kind of awful. Knees could drop down if you like. Breathe here, one more breath. And then on an inhale, come to up dog. Be careful in up dog. We don't want too much pressure in the low back. If you're like, ooh, this does not feel happy, then change it into a baby cobra. Lower more of your body down to the mat. But if you're hanging out in that up dog, can you lift your heart higher, bend your elbows, and wrap them in towards your body? One more breath here. It's unusual to hang out there. And then go ahead and go back to down dog. 3 big breaths in your down dog. Breathe all the way in, all the way out. Inhale. Exhale, chest dropping back toward your thighs if you can. One more time, breathe in. And then as you exhale, bend your knees, look forward. On an inhale, step or hop your feet up to your hands. Halfway lift, flatten out. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand up, reach for the sky. And exhale your hands to heart. Take one breath here. Then we'll go do it on the other side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, dive forward. Halfway lift. Hands go down, left foot steps back this time. Lower the left knee. Rise up so you're kneeling, reach for the sky. Stack everything straight up and down. Then start to move your whole body forward, inviting stretch into the left hip. Last big inhale here. Exhale, bring your hands to the mat, again, tenting the fingers so you've got a little extra height. You could also put your hands on blocks or something if you have those nearby. And then draw the hips back, straighten the right leg for the half splits. Flexing that right foot, start to wave it, turning it externally rotated and internally rotate. You may find as you wave that foot back and forth, there's a spot where you're like, ooh, yeah, then stay in that spot. That's probably where you need to hang out for a little extra breath. All right, bring the right toes to point up at the sky again. Bend that front leg, step it back, high plank. Take a great big breath and then lower to chaturanga, holding in chaturanga. Notice my body is flat-ish, like a plank of wood. Avoid the saggy hips or the butt way up in the air. You want to be flat and straight, building so much strength. And then inhale into your back bend, up dog or baby cobra. Wrap the shoulders back, lift your heart high, still breathing. Exhale, press it up and back, down dog. 3 breaths here. On that third exhale, bend the knees, look forward. As you inhale, feet to hands. Halfway lift, flatten out. Exhale, fold in half. Inhale, stand up, reach to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Right away, big toes touch, sit down, chair pose. Squeezing the thighs together, really finding that sense of both sides coming in toward the center, thigh to thigh. You could even press your palms above your head, or just find that sense of the palms drawn together. And then if you can, move the palms back out of your peripheral vision. Do that without cranking a big curve into your spine though. One more breath here. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands go down, right foot steps back again. Keep your back knee lifted, high lunge. This is very similar to what we already did, except that back knee is now lifted. Stack your torso, sink the hips down. Keep working to straighten the right leg behind you, stabilizing through the core. One more breath here. And then on an exhale, tip forward and fly to a warrior 3. I love this sequence because it's building strength and steadiness through the legs and the hips. On an exhale, gracefully, as much as possible, step back, high lunge. And then hands go down to the mat. Find your way back to your down dog. You can flow, or you can just press up and back. Big breath in. Big breath out. Lift your right leg up and back, and then step it forward in between your hands. Rise up into lunge, reaching for the sky. Feeling what's going on through the front of your left hip here. Breathing. Nothing too fancy, just smooth and steady. Let your torso tip forward. Press up and fly, warrior three. As much as you can, you're looking to make like a capital letter T shape. Arms reaching out long in front of you. And then bend into your right leg as you step it back, high lunge, reach for the sky. Exhale, hands down, back to down dog, however you choose to go is fine. In down dog, take a big breath. Exhale it out. Inhale. As you exhale, bend the knees, look forward. Inhale, step or hop, feet to hands. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Squeeze knees together, sit down, chair pose. Breathing here for 3, 2, 1. Stand all the way up, reach tall. And exhale, hands to heart. Good, let's do that again. Sit down, chair pose. On an exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down. Let's take left foot back this time. Left foot back. High lunge, rise up. Breathe here. Tipping your torso forward, fly to that warrior three, just like we've done. Option to stay here or drop your hands to the ground, turn it into a standing split. Now you're lifting that back leg as high as you can and forward folding over your standing leg. Just one more breath here. And then again, gracefully rise back up to high lunge. On an exhale, hands to the mat, find your way to down dog. Big breath in. Big breath out. Left foot reaches up and back. Step your left foot in between your hands. High lunge, rising up. Big inhale. Exhale. Tip your torso forward. Fly to that warrior three. And then with control, standing splits. Hands go down, right leg goes high. Gracefully arrive back at high lunge. Reach for the sky. And then as you exhale, hands down, find your way back to down dog. One more big breath together here, in. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward. Inhale, step or hop, feet to hands, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Chair pose, sit low. Last one of these. Have y'all seen the meme going around that's like, if 2020 was a yoga pose, it would be chair pose. Take one more breath. Rise up, reach to the sky. And exhale, hands to heart. Big inhale here. Check in with yourself as you exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. Good. Let's take a few balancing poses and we're going to work a little extra into your hips with that balance. So standing nice and tall, shift all the weight into your left foot. Then you'll pick up the right knee, tip it sideways, and make a figure four. So my ankle is crossed over the top of my left knee, my foot is flexed. Hands to heart. And then with as much control as you've got, start to sit down. You can really stick your butt out back here. And again, it's almost like doing cow pose with your spine, with your chest, right? Push your heart forward, let your belly drop. Should hopefully be feeling lots of good stretch through the outer right hip and glutes. Breathing. And then with control, rise back up. Maybe you lift the right knee high and gracefully place it down. Big breath in. Big breath out. Same thing, stand tall on the right leg. Hug the left knee up. Make your figure 4, ankle over the top of the right knee, hands to heart. We're just taking it smooth and steady. For this first one, we're gonna revisit the same pose, and I'll give you all the add-ons and fancy tricks if you'd like more for the second round. An inhale to rise back up. Lift that knee high. Awesome. These look so controlled out there. Really nice. Shake it off. Okay, so option to do exactly that again on both sides. And that can really be interesting to experience it the second time around. It's like your muscle memories comes into play. Your nervous system isn't as freaked out by it. So you can do it the same, or we'll add on some variations if you like to play with it. Put all the weight into the left foot. Right knee comes up. Make that figure 4. Hands to the heart. You sink down into it. Right? And it's like, oh, that feels familiar. Not so scary. If you'd like to take it farther, you could rest your arms on your shin. You can drop your hands to the ground and straighten the standing leg, forward folding. If you want to go for an arm balance here, you can press your palms to the mat, bend your standing leg, hook the right toes around that left tricep, and rock the weight forward into your hands. Suddenly you're flying, and maybe extending that back leg. Not me today, but maybe you've got that at home. The goal, of course, is to do it all with control. And then from wherever you found yourself, make your way back out of it in reverse order. And let it go. Big breath in. Big exhale. Let's do it on the other side. Stand tall on the right leg. Draw the left knee up. Make your figure 4. Hands to heart. Sink in. Find where it's going to work for you on this side. If you're going for your arm balance, keep forward folding. Hook those left toes. Hold on to your right tricep with your toes. And then palms press down. Arms bend like chaturanga. That's why we like to hold chaturanga and build that strength. And then you fly. Maybe. Bring yourself back out of it in reverse order. And we'll meet standing tall at the top of your mat. Looks great. Nice job. Big breath here. In. Exhale it out. Inhale, sweep your arms up, look up. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Halfway lift. Hands go down, both feet step or float back this time, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale to down dog. Big breath here. Lift your right leg up and back. Step it forward in between your hands, lower the back knee. We're gonna revisit your splits with the option to go half split or full split. Again, super important that you listen to your body at home. So for half splits, we're flexing the front foot, reaching up tall and forward folding over it. If you'd like to experiment with what comes after that toward full split, blocks are a really great thing to have here. And you start to slide your right leg forward. Good, nice. I'm seeing lots of good work out there. Make sure you're still breathing. Even when we're doing the asana limb of yoga, we're always still practicing our pranayama and breath. It's also practicing some of the other limbs, which are like mindfulness and awareness, right? It's all combined here. Give your splits one more breath. Let it go. And then draw the right leg back in. Rebend the knee. Step it back. Find your way to down dog. Big breath together, in and out. Left leg reaches up and back. Step it forward, in between the hands if possible. Lower the back knee. Make your choice. You're going for half or full splits. Flex that front foot, fold over it. A block or something on either side of your leg here is a nice way to bring the ground a little bit closer. If you're going for the full, slide the left foot out. If you can, keep your chest, your torso upright. Gravity will assist you, letting things lower towards the mat. You want to work in that place where it feels like, okay, you're on your edge, you're learning something new, your muscles are adjusting to something new, but you don't want to go into that place where you're like, I'm not going to be able to walk after this. Good. Take one more big breath here. Start to pull the left foot back in, and then bend the left knee, palms to the mat. Take it home, down dog, however you want to get there. One more big breath in. Huge exhale out. And then let's all lower the knees to the mat and reach the hands up to the sky, setting up for a camel pose back bend. So reaching tall, strong abs, keeping the torso really stacked if possible. Swim the hands back behind you and place the palms to your lower back. So once again, you're really moving through the shoulder joint there. Then hug the elbows closer together as you lift your heart high. It might not take very much to feel a lot, right? It doesn't have to go super far into a back bend to be really effective at opening across the chest, the throat. You want to keep lengthening the spine as opposed to any crunching or condensing it. 2 more breaths here. And then we rise back up, straight arms reach back behind you and swim forward in those big circles. And then have a seat onto your heels, kneeling with a tall neutral spine. Take a breath. We're gonna do 2 more rounds of this camel pose. I'll throw some more variations your way, but know that you could keep doing it exactly the way we just did, and that would be plenty. So we all come up, stacking the torso over the hips, over the knees. If you'd like to take it a little bit deeper, you can tuck your toes under, and that's gonna lift the heels up a few inches. Reach up high. Start by putting your hands to the low back. Hug the elbows together, lift your chest. And then as you start to go back, you might reach the hands for the heels. As you do that, keep your hips over the top of your knees, meaning you really got to push your pelvis forward. Draw the low abs in, belly button to spine. 2 more breaths. Make sure you're still breathing, please. Okay, and then you rise up using that strength of the core. Again, swim forward in big circles and have a seat back in neutral. Take a breath here. One more round of camel pose for you. You choose the variation you like. If you'd like to go even deeper than you did that last time, you could keep the toes tucked, and that's going to lower the heels that couple of inches. So we rise up, we reach for the sky, swim the arms back, really opening the chest and the shoulders, puff up your heart, lift up in order to go back. Maybe if it's okay today for your body, the hands reach down to the heels. Oof, it's a lot. Take 3 more breaths wherever you are. And then use your core strength. Maybe the hands come to the low back as you rise up. Swim those arms forward, come down, and this time we'll go all the way down to child's pose. So you can reach your chest forward, offsetting all of that work that we just did with the back bend into a little gentle forward fold here. You'll notice if you keep your knees close together touching in this child's pose, that will cause your spine to round more in the opposite direction of the back bend we were just doing. Let's give it one more big inhale. And exhale. And then everybody lift yourself back up. Sit your hips off to the side, swing your legs around to the front. We'll flex the feet, press the heels down into the mat, press the back side of your legs down into the mat, reach for the sky. Puff up a little bit more if you can, and then forward fold. The main movement of that forward fold is starting from deep into the hips. And then just to play with what happens here, do some miniature, if you will, cat-cows. So inhale, look forward, reach your chest forward. That's like cow pose. And then exhale, round, chin to chest. Inhale, look up, reach your chest. Exhale, round, folding a little deeper. One more time like that. Inhale, open your collarbones wide. Exhale, fold. We'll stay here in this fold, 3 more breaths. All right, and then rise back up. Okay, we're going to take a hip stretch similar to pigeon pose, except doing it from seated. If you love your half pigeon and you want to go ahead and take that now on the right side to start. But if you're sticking with me for the seated variation, lean your hands back behind you, bend your left knee and put the foot on the ground. The right foot crosses over the left knee. This is similar to that balancing pose, figure 4 camper pose that we did earlier as well. I like this seated variation because you really get to play with your intensity, and you can walk the hands in closer, you can sit up taller. You can move the left foot in or out, which creates more bend and more stretch, or less bend and less stretch. And then you sit with it and you breathe. A few more breaths here. I feel like I talk about this a lot, but you know, we hold stress and tension in our body in physical manifestations. It usually shows up as tightness in the hips or the shoulders or the chest or the jaw or everywhere. So as you sit here stretching into the hips and the glutes, it's also helping to get rid of some of that tension, to let go of some of that stored up tightness. Feel yourself softening with every breath, letting go of what no longer serves you. All right, let's switch sides. So bring both feet back down to the ground. Give yourself a little windshield wiper side to side. Yeah, and if you were in your half pigeon the other way, go ahead and just switch sides in whatever way works best for you. And then keep your right foot on the mat. Take the left ankle over the right knee. This side might need a different amount of intensity than the other side. Play with it, find that place where it's like, okay, yep, there's definitely something happening. And then just settle in and breathe. After a few breaths, you might find that there's a little more room. You may close it off a little more. Beautiful. All right, let's bring both feet back to the mat. Give yourself a big rock side to side, dropping the knees left and right. Nice. And then make sure you've got some space behind you. Let's keep an eye on our time here. Sit up nice and tall, reach your arms forward. Lean back about 45 degrees. We want to keep the spine really, really long. Try not to let it round. And then maybe you lift one foot, keeping the shin parallel to the ground. Maybe you lift both, keeping those shins parallel to the ground. You can assist yourself holding onto the thighs if you like. Or if you want to go a little extra, you straighten the legs all the way. Woo. And we breathe for 5. Oh, I get such a cramp in my quad every time I do that. 4, 3. Sit up taller, 2, and 1, and then lower as slow as you can all the way down to the mat. Take a big stretch, breathe, and hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. All right, let's get upside down with shoulder stand today. Take your feet straight up to the sky. You're welcome to stay right here, just hugging those thighs together, or moving it toward shoulder stand. First, we go to plow pose. So you toss your feet up and over your head. Hands come to the low back, and if you can, scooch the elbows closer together, and then you can lift the legs for the sky. We're really looking to reach through the feet up towards the ceiling and keep the legs hugged together, really active. Avoid turning your head left or right so that you're not pinching your neck on either side. Majority of the weight here is in the shoulders and the back of your head. We don't want a lot on your neck. Let's give it a few more breaths. We'll come out of this going back to plow pose. So the toes can drop up and over your head. Maybe the toes find the ground. If they do, you can bend your knees and squeeze your head or your ears. And then slow and steady, using your core strength, roll yourself back down to the mat. Lower those legs. If you can, keep them straight. Reach, 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 so strong. And then find the ground. Take a big breath in. And a huge breath out. Let's hug your right knee into your chest. If it reaches your chest and it feels like there's nowhere else to go, pull it over to the right side of your rib cage a little bit and just keep hugging it in. As you do that, notice this left leg can still be active. Press the left thigh into the ground. We're recreating our splits here a little bit like we did earlier on. And then go ahead and guide your right knee across your body to twist. Let the knee fall heavy towards the ground. You might leave your left hand on it for a little nudge. Open your arms, look over to the right hand. See if you can soften so that the shoulders find the ground. Bring yourself back into the center. Hug that right knee nice and tight one more time. And then switch sides. Extend the right leg out. The left knee draws in. Keep finding space as you hug that knee tighter. Right leg is still active. You might flex the right foot. Press your heel into the mat. Breathe. And then pull the left knee across your body for your twist. Open the left arm. Look all the way over there. And breathe. Bring yourself back to center. Hug the left knee one more time, nice and tight, give it a squeeze. And then hug the right knee in to meet it. Reach in between your legs, grab for the big toes or the arches of both feet. If possible, keep your whole spine on the mat. So tailbone is down, crown of the head is down. Well, back of the head is down, I should say. And then the bottoms of the feet are up towards the sky. Knees are moving toward your armpits. And then you might invite a little rock side to side. A little bit of movement can feel like a nice massage. From here, you can take any other pose or stretch or wiggle or movement that your body is asking you for, and then find your way into a Shavasana, resting pose. I always like to remind you that Shavasana doesn't have to be perfectly flat on your back like this. If you want some release for your low back or your knees, you can bend the knees, take the feet wide, and let the knees knock in against each other. That's really nice and restorative. I always like my arms to be up nice and high, just finding lots of opening and space through the upper body. You do you. Find a way that you can lie still. And then we settle in, and we become still. This is part of those 8 limbs of yoga as well, practicing staying present mentally. And so if you notice your mind wandering away, thinking about what comes next or something that happened earlier, just bring it back to here, this breath. We'll take about 5 more big breaths together. That's not the longest Shavasana in the world, so if you'd like to stay still longer, you just go right ahead. And then if you're getting back up from this Shavasana, allow some movement back to fingers and toes. Let your head rock side to side. Take a nice big stretch, arms up over your head. You can turn onto one side, and from there make your way to seated. No rush about it. And your eyes can close or just lower your gaze, whatever feels comfortable. Hands can find your heart. And I invite you to very deliberately take a moment here and tell yourself thank you. I don't know, maybe you do it more than I do, but it's not often that I carve out time to say thank you to myself. Recognize that it's a gift to take this time to take care of you and pay attention to yourself and what you need. And in doing so, you're then able to go out and take care of everybody else. We'll close out our practice this morning with 3 breaths together. We inhale. We exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We bow forward to honor this practice of yoga for all it teaches us, mind, body, spirit, on the mat and off. Thank you, thank you, thank you, all of you, for a beautiful, strong practice this morning. I'll stick around for a few minutes if you have any questions or comments or feedback. Always love to hear it. And otherwise, have an amazing week.